Good evening, class, and welcome to revision session 4. Today is our last day of revision, and we do also have a 1-hour Q&A. Now, let me stress on this before we get there. See, the Q&A section is a time whereby we sort of like interact, talk about things that you don't understand or things that you need clarification with. My suggestion here is that if you would like to ask a question during the Q&A, can you please email the question to me first so that I will be able to research and know the best, that if it's a technical question, so that I'll be able to know what I need to tell you, and that also make the whole session well structured. But then if it's just a general question regarding P5, how to exams and how to get there, bet to think of, then no problem. I'll be more than willing to answer you on the day of the Q&A. Remember, our last Q&A will be an hour section. We start at 6, we finish at 7. And so let's start today. My class for today will focus on 2 important parts of the syllabus. One of them will be the corporate failure. Before we start looking at questions on corporate failure, let's try to go back to the base that we spoke about when we discussed corporate failure in this particular room. When we spoke about corporate failure, I asked, why do businesses fail? The question was, why do businesses fail? Now, class, during our discussion, we were able to come up with a lot of reasons. Now, one of the things that I believe I said was, I said business failed due to 4 main issues. One of the issues that we made mention of was the fact that it is due to poor financial planning. See, if a business does not plan its financials very well, there's always a tendency that the business will have liquidity problems. There's always a tendency that we'll have some liquidity problems. And if we have liquidity problems, most often than not, it will actually let the business have a lot of issue, and most often we end up being bankrupt. So we end up being bankrupt and the business actually goes off. So one of the reasons why businesses fail, we said, is to do with poor financial planning. Another important reason why we said businesses fail, we said businesses also fail due to poor business planning. See, it is very important that you actually plan your business very well. What we said here is that poor business planning also comes in whereby we lack knowledge of the external factors such as our competitors, our customers. See, as a business, you need to know what your competitors are actually doing. We need to know what our competitors are doing so that we'll see how their strategies can also affect us. When we study strategy in this classroom, we say that before we start by looking at the strategy, we need to first look at our position. Our position is where we're looking at what is happening in the external environment. If we are able to assess what is happening in the external environment, we will assess our current strategies to see if our current strategies are robust enough to fit into the changing external environment. Most often it will not be, and that's why we formulate and implement new strategies to combat the changes in the external environment. It's the same thing here. As a business, if we lack knowledge of what our competitors are doing, what our customers want, because when you studied marketing in ACCA P3, we said that as a business, we need to anticipate our customer needs and make sure that we are able to give it to them. So we need to first anticipate their customer needs, and then we need to be able to supply these needs to the customer as and when they require. Same one here. That means that if we are not able to anticipate our customer needs, we are not able to anticipate our customer taste changes, our customer changes in fashion, then a business will actually go down. The third reason why we say businesses fail, we say that businesses actually fail due to poor marketing here. Businesses, we say, do fail due to poor marketing. Class, if you are marketing your product or your services to the wrong people, they're not going to know about it. If you are marketing your product and you are not able to highlight what you are actually marketing, there are times I watch some classifieds and some adverts on TV and I'm thinking, okay, what were they advertising? It's a very common thing that you see most of the time, that most companies believe that we will advertise the product in such a way that will make our customers think. Your customer doesn't have to think. Your customer needs to see the advert and know what you are trying to market. So what we say here is that if you are not able to market your product or your services correctly, if you are not able to market your product or your services to the correct people, there's a tendency that the business will fail. Another reason why we say businesses fail here is also due to poor management here. Poor management here, it's one of the biggest reasons why we say businesses fail. The reason why we say that here, we say that most managers do lack that expertise or that sort of expertise in some areas. They lack expertise. They don't have the required experience in some of the areas. Most of these managers also do not delegate. We don't delegate work properly. Class, if you don't delegate work properly, then there's always a tendency that there will always be too much work to do. There'll be so much work to do, there'll be work overload, and that can actually have an impact on the company's performance. And then also, we also say that they do not seek help early. They do not seek help early. And that's one of the reasons why the businesses fail. Now, so far, we've been able to mention 4 main important elements that we believe that are main factors that causes businesses to fail. Now, we say that we can actually avoid failure. We say that we can avoid failure. And the means of avoiding failure here, we said to avoid failure, there are some things that most businesses should have. We say that one of the things here is that we should avoid one-man rule. We should avoid a situation whereby we only have one person that is actually making all decisions for the business. If we are able to avoid one-man rule, we say that it's a good thing. We say that the board must participate. The board must participate in decision making. The board must be involved. They need to be part of what? All decision making processes. We also say that to avoid failure, the board must have a strategy. See, we need to have a strategy as a business. A business can't go without having a good strategy. There's always something that you need to do that will actually make your company so unique. That'll give you that added advantage over the others. Every business needs to think about something like that. We also say that to avoid failure, another thing that we can also do here is that as the board must be made aware of and react to risk. See, as a business, we need to have a situation whereby we should always be made aware of any potential risk